Okay, here we go. Again, this will be out in the morning. Chino Papa, please don't fuck the Warlocks over. I will try not to. This will be out in the morning in a YouTube video that you can find on the YouTube channel. Again, this sheet is not perfect. I want to reiterate that. We are going to be editing it as the phase goes on. At some point, we're going to just lock it and it'll be the way it is. But for the first couple weeks of the phase, or between now and then, we will be making minor adjustments. And if you have anything that you want to see changed, and you have data to back it up, feel free to DM me or Pummel, and we're happy to look at it. I get a lot of stuff, so if you could do me a favor and try to keep your notes summarized, I'd appreciate it, because there's a lot of DMs that I get about this. Okay, so let's get into it. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. Let's pull it up. God, it's weird to be in the game. It's been forever. Okay. Trial of the Grand Crusader. This sheet is only
Remember my offer.
25-man heroic. We are not doing 10-man or normals. We're just doing 25-man heroic because 99.5% of the loot that you're going to get for the phase as BIS is from 25-man heroic. So keep that in mind. If there's anything that you're not seeing listed, that's why it's not there. All right, so quick pulling up the sheet. One thing we did, because this phase is annoying and all of the Alliance gear and the Horde gear is listed with different names because Blizzard thought that would be funny to troll us. We had to do what's essentially two full list differences because the names are all different. So you're going to see two separate versions of these lists. They have been mostly looked at with an eye of differences between any Horde and Alliance racial differences, but some of them are just identical. We're gonna do any final touches between now and then, but we thought we were close to good to send it. We also added sim links to a lot of these for the DPS classes at least, which is a new thing that we're doing. It took us fucking forever. I should say it took Hands and Pummel forever, so thank you guys. You can pull these up and then futz with them and try to find better things. But we didn't do it for healers or tanks because who cares? And then the last tab is the Fusion Stream tab, which I need to update with more stuff. So we can go over the intro or we can just dive right into it. Probably just go into it. You guys can read the intro later. But yeah, here we go. Pulling up the first boss, the Beast of Northrend. We can start with this Drape of the Untamed Predator. Crit haste AP.
That's like it mirrors like the 10-man cloak, right? And the 10-man cloaks are probably gonna be a little bit better. So it's not a huge item. Give it to whoever needs it. It's warrior rogue hunter type item.
Yeah, this is one of the few items that the 10-man stuff is going to either rival or trump. And so there's a couple items that kind of fall in that, like, it's kind of like the 252, 239 thing where it's
10-man, it's the 10-man 50 out of 50 attempts.
Yeah,
cloak.
258 I think is the cloak, right? So
yeah.
So even though this is
doing that on the BTR, that was really easy.
Incredibly easy, yeah. You will very likely be doing 50 out of 50 week 1 in 10-man, if not definitely week 2. Okay, so yeah, warrior rogue hunter. It's just kind of like whoever doesn't have Abyss cloak or needs a catch-up piece. This is probably a good way to go. Okay, the next one is the same thing I think for casters. Shawl of the Refreshing Winds.
That's basically the same thing. If you have like the Algalon cloak, it's like a very small upgrade. Everybody wants the 272 big boy cloak, so it's just anybody who is thrown in the towel for the 272. Enjoy your 258.
Yeah. What was the 252? The owl cloak? Wasn't that there's an Iron Council cloak too, or did that not?
That one has crit and hit. This one doesn't have any hit. So I mean, if you could drop the hit, yoink it. But
Okay.
I mean, I assume if you're using that cloak, it's because you need to hit like the fire mages.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So nothing too exciting there. Next, the flowing vestments of ascent. Haste spell
So-
power, 3 sockets.
So those are kind of interesting because it's not like most of the casters this tier are using 4-piece of the tier 9. So there's a lot of these like off pieces that you could choose to build with, but the only one that's using it in their full abyss right now is Arcane Mage. So I went with Arcane and then the rest. If somebody wants to sacrifice the off piece that they could get for full abyss and get the hit somewhere else and use this instead, and you don't have any Arcane Mages, this is a good piece to consider.
Cool. Arcane uses in full abyss. Is Arcane going to be very common in phase 3? I feel like we're mostly fire at this point, right?
It could be. I know some very good Arcane Mages that have stuck around and they still do decent damage. And if you need 3%,
Certain
easy
fights I
source.
think are also going to be good for Arcane, right?
yeah,
I think
certain fights
Jaraxxus
for sure.
Arcane is simming higher than.
Yeah, Jaraxxus kind of is a very
Not-
magey
for sure.
fight.
Who
'cause of
cares,
the spell
but-
stealing, no matter what.
Okay, well, something to keep in mind. I feel like this is gonna be one of those pieces where it's like every mage wants it, but no one wants to spend prio on it. I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those. We'll take it if nobody wants to give it to us, but don't hold it against me later.
Yeah, exactly. One of those Ladond items.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah, there are a lot of those. Okay, Chord of the Tenebrous Mist.
So currently, the belt that we have is Star Watchers. Is the best belt in Old War, and that's a crit belt. And this belt is Spirit and Haste, so it's a pretty big, just itemization upgrade. And it's only used for Warlocks and S-Priests. And when simming, it was about the same amount of DPS difference, so I give them equal. The equal sign means they're equal. It doesn't matter which one's on the left or the right. The equal sign means they're equal. And then Arcane uses it, but it's not as important for Arcane, so I Warlock and S-Priest.
Okay. Not too exciting, but it's nice that it's not like one belt for every caster, kind of like Star Watchers is, one belt for every caster.
There's like 3 pieces that every single caster basically wants, and the difference is so many. Like there's literally a pair of bracers that is just a 6 eye level staffer stat upgrade
Yep.
over Grasp of Reason, and that's going to be a lot more difficult to hand out than something like this belt.
Cool. Good. Yeah, so far so easy. Okay, Leggings of the Broken Beast, hit, haste, AP, leather pants.
So I think originally, I think we had this going to a lot more people, and then as like the Sims and stuff refined over the past couple weeks, it looks like Rogues kind of just came out on top as like the only ones really caring about these legs. It's a nice piece. Upgrade over the Yogg legs, but like everything this tier is just it doesn't feel like that impactful.
Yeah.
So, just throw it on your Rogues and they'll be happy.
Congrats, Rogues.
Rogues don't want tier legs, but they do want the other 4. Okay. Solid. These seem pretty good.
Yeah, they do. I think at one point we were looking at Hunters getting them and Ferals, and then we played around more, and it eventually came out that Rogues are the only ones that are going to want these.
Yeah. Same icon as the last ones, which is annoying, but whatever. Okay, Boots of the Unrelenting Storm, leather crit spell power. I'm sure that as soon as these drops, you're gonna hate them. Like, fuck these boots.
So they're not best for Bimkin or Resto, but it'll just get handed to them because it has no other home to go to. Maybe like a Resto Shaman or a Paladin down Horrendous, but like it's not best for either of them, but it's gonna go to them. There's nothing else to say.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna be bummed when you see these. Okay. Breastplate of Cruel Intent, like leggings. No.
So this does arrive on the Enhancement Shaman Bis list. It is also, if you see 2 of them, depending on where your hunters are with gear, they could potentially use this. It's not a bad item. I think just throw to your Enhancement Shaman first. It was we came up with a set early on that was like using this and not using another hit item. Hunters, were able to run this, so it's not a bad item if hunters are still waiting for the Sabatons of Ruthless Judgment. Depending on what they do have, they could run this. But Enhancement Shaman first, hunters slightly behind if it's rotting.
Okay. So then they don't use tier chest.
Yeah, they wouldn't use tier
I'm
chest.
the bitch.
They would use this with tier pants. It's a very. It's probably not gonna come up, right? You see two of them, you'll give the first one to your Enhancement Shaman, and hunters get a lot of free gear anyhow.
Yeah.
Like, it could come up. They could use it. I would just sim it. If you have this chest and the 5 other tier pieces, which shouldn't be hard to grind out, you might be able to make a set with this.
Yeah, I was looking at the Hunter Bis list, and it was just like, oh, 75% of this gear is just handed to you. Like, nobody wants it. Which,
Rogues kind of have.
if you want a good GDQP character, Hunter's the way to go.
My original thought was I was trying to get people off Dark Determination, which I thought hunters would want. So it was to use that chest, not use Dark. It was like this whole thing to try to not make Dark Determination very high prio or very highly contested. And I came up with a set that used that chest, and it was it stemmed pretty close to what is actual Hunter Bis.
Okay, cool. All right. Should I put a chat overlay on? I'm gonna put a chat overlay on. There we go. That's nice. All right. Okay, what was next? We're flying through these. What a joy. Belt of the Ice Burrower. Crit, MP5, spell power, male. Blech.
Yeah, male caster belt. I would give it to the
Why
resto
do they
than
make
DLE.
gear like this?
I don't. I mean, I have no idea. It's just an MP5 belt. You know where it's going.
Resto Ellie and then everyone else. All right. Grats Resto Shamans. Chest plate of the Towering Monstrosity. Defense, dodge, expertise. That's a lot of expertise. We have.
I think that's the off piece for all the tanks. So whoever your main tank is, whatever
Yeah.
plate. So just throw it to them, and they'll be a very happy camper.
All 3 plate tanks use it. And then they use every other piece of tier, which we'll get into tier towards the end because it's a big discussion. But whether or not they get tier is going to be not a sure thing, which is very different than phases in the past. It's kind of a toss up if they're going to get tier this time. All right, Bone Shatter arm plates. Ooh, these look good. Crit, expertise, plate bracers.
So these are interesting, right? Because they're BIS, I believe, for troll and troll only. Horde side. And that's because troll doesn't get the expertise ratio, and they don't get the hit alliance ratio. So they run a little bit different set than everybody else.
Yeah.
I have warrior equals ret. It's not a huge item. If someone's down bad on expertise, I'd say go after them. But if you have a troll warrior in your raid, maybe hit them up first.
I never got the Algalon bracers on my warriors. I would love these, like stat.
Yeah, like if that's the case, like you have a warrior that somehow has the Yogg legs without the Alg bracers, then maybe throw these.
That's what I have.
A quick upgrade.
But
I don't think that hurts anybody's feelings unless you have a troll warrior. But then that would imply that you might have 2 warriors in the raid, which then it's like what's going on there. So
yeah, that's kind of impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, solid. Just warrior and ret. No DKs want these, which is nice. That's helpful. Like I feel like so much like certain armor types. It's like everybody wants, but if they can split it in half, then it just makes it so much easier.
I would say, I mean, they're not on face value. Just looking at that item, I wouldn't say it's bad for Frost. There's just better out there, right? And maybe if you don't have Bedlam, you find a way to make this into a set. But it's like, oh, don't give them to a Frosty K. I mean, if the Frosty K is the only guy that wants some things, he can use them. Yeah, that's fine.
I hope after 24 weeks you have Bedlam.
I mean, hopefully. What is going on?
What?
Oh, never mind. I got hit with a Diablo 4 ad because I'm trying to watch your stream to see what you're pulling up.
You could sub with a Prime.
Sub to Crix though. My
let's
prime.
gift type something. I'll gift you a sub right now. Give me a second. Type something. There you go. Let's gift Hands a sub. You're a mod, does it not? I guess it doesn't. There we go. I'll
No.
gift you a sub. Done. Ads off.
Yeah. He's scarabord.
There we go.
I should have just got a sub.
Got a
sorry.
good.
You
Actually, we
bitch.
can go on.
Okay. All right. Boots of the Courageous. Crit, haste, spell power, plate. I wonder where these are going to go.
Holy Paladin next.
Holy Paladin next. Grats, Holy Paladins. You get loot. Must be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Being
We got a good.
You
Actually, we
bitch.
can go on. Let's go.
being an armor class that no casters can use. Feels good. I wouldn't know. Josh, thank you for the prime. All right.
It's okay.
Hands volume is
okay,
pretty
they-
I I can't up him anymore. He's already at max.
Yeah.
They need pharaohs, so they have things that
Actually,
they
we can go
want to
on.
get that are
Let
difficult
me
for them.
see.
Ooh, a scarab lord.
Oh, actually, I know how to do it. Hands talk.
Hello.
A little louder.
Hey, what's up?
All right. You're louder now. It should be good. All right. Brilliance, thank you for the prime. All right. Ooh, a scarab lord. Okay. Trophy of the Crusade. These drop from all of the Heroic 25 bosses, as well as the chest at the end of Heroic 10. And you need these to buy your 245 tier gear. We're not going to talk about these anymore, but you'll be swimming in these very quickly. There's some discussion on where these are going to go early, but, you know, you'll figure it out. All right, Band of the Violent Temperament. This is one of those items I think that you want to see drop every single week, right? Everything else seems kind of meh. This is one of those items that everybody needs.
Yeah, it's statted super well for Death Knights. You know, strength with a strength socket bonus that you can haste strength gem with a haste, passive there on it. It's a very nice Unholy Ring. I'm thinking what we have is Unholy Frost equals Warrior, and then Ret. So it might come down to who has Seal of the Betrayed King, can make the most use of it. Unholy would, love to replace Craze Construct with this thing, but it might be, might come out that Warrior just does a little bit better with it right off the rip. Definitely a big item. I think it's one of the more contested pieces of loot.
Yeah, I think that generally we are going to be giving Unholy like their tier and a big trinket early, likely, and then they might not get much else over anyone else early on. But TBD, but this is good. This is a good ring. I have 3 characters that want this ring, so yeah. And I'm glad I bought Seal of the Betrayed King on my Warrior all of a sudden. I spent way too much gold on it and then felt like an asshole because it's not BIS, but now it will be, so that's cool. Cool.
I think just for like general like pure DPS, I think Unholy wins out. But I feel that's like so many items this phase that it's like where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe not this ring.
Okay. Blade of Tarask, which is also called, what is it also called? Barb of
caster
Tarask.
item.
Yeah, caster
Yeah.
item.
So I put it depends on how people want to gear, because you could use, if you're a warlock or a mage, you get the blade or you get the sword, and one is hit, one doesn't. If you're an S-Priest or Boomkin, you could use the blade or the mace, and it depends if you need the hit or not. So in the warlock Absolute Bis, they use Barb of Tarask, and for the S-Priest Absolute Bis, they use Barb of Tarask. So I put them as further than the mages. For the mages will have something else on the line, but I have Warlock, then S-Priest, the Mage, then the rest. For the Boomkin, the Absolute Bis, they're going to be using Misery Zen, so I put them as a little bit more forward, but S-Priest should be like right up there, right next to them in terms of priority. It's like a transitive Star Shard edge, so if you have a Star Shard, this is like a +6 to that for eye level.
Is that low?
I mean, most of these items, if you have a 252, these are going to 258.
Yeah,
It's just,
I mean
it's
that's
most of these
Oh
items.
no, I sorry, I thought you meant DPS wise. Okay.
Oh no, I mean it's like very similar. That's why I play Warlock equal S
It'd be
Priest,
hard
but
to,
they have
like,
another option.
take someone with a fusion blade and take someone with a star charge and give the guy with the star charge
Yeah.
this, and then
Yeah, it's easier for, like, if you have a fusion blade or star shard, it's easier to go to this than to go to the sword or the mace and have to find the hit home somewhere else. It's like you're gonna need 2 pieces to replace 1,
Okay.
which is kind of awful.
Cool. All right. It's weird that the main hand caster weapon is not like super vied after. You know what I mean? Like usually it's like, oh, the weapon, but it's kind of like whatever, right?
and it's
Well,
off the
well,
first boss.
we
right?
have options.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Okay. Next up, Steel Blade Breaker, also called Stygian Blade Breaker. Main hand dagger.
Assassination rogue, right?
Rogues, woo.
Grats rogues. Easy. Are combat rogues finally taking over in this phase, or like what?
I think what we saw in the PTR is there is enough cleave and enough. I guess cleave. The big thing was like 2-target cleave with blade flurry, right? That kind of seemed like combat pulled ahead. Assassination still like dumps single target. By the end of the phase with armor pen, I could see combat pulling more ahead, and I think that's what the sim reflected is like they're now pulling ahead of assassination rogues. Another big thing to keep in mind is like a lot of places like the weapons for like DKs and rogues, they were like a little suboptimal, right? DKs were using 10-man hard mode items, so there wasn't a 252 piece. And rogues, they unlock like the hack and slash build now, right? So they'll, instead of the combat fist passive, they're gonna get the combat, axe passive.
I think they're both gonna be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it's that to the extent of like, oh, you don't bring these anymore. I think you can play either spec and still be fine.
Most of the rogues have a mutilate blade flurry build that they keep as their off spec, and they just swap between the two depending on the fight.
Yeah.
And so the AoE that assassination can do has become a lot higher.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you're spec swapping, like especially on like twins, are you talking about that? Like, yeah, you're talking about the assassination blade flurry build, right? That was kind of like
Where they
pumping
go
on
down to
twins.
mutilate, and then they
Yeah.
take blade flurry too. That's like the build that a lot of them have been playing throughout the majority of the raid now. As I've been playing my rogue, I get yelled at to not use like AoE builds from Nax. So I think they're gonna surprise us. I think they're gonna surprise us.
Yeah, that looks fun. I'd definitely be trying that out. And there's enough time between bosses that you can do stuff like that, right? So it's hard to say combat pulls ahead when you have like 35 seconds of RP between every boss in TOGC. So if you want to run assassination with 2 builds like that, that's fine.
You still have your rogue Pummel? Is you horde?
Yeah, I just got a Comet's Trail on it. A Comet's Trail on it last week.
Nice. All right. Sorry, I just ate a mega Sour Patch Kid. All right. Well, that's Northrend Beasts, except for Crystal Plated Vanguard, which, very exciting item.
Anybody actually? I don't know.
Looks super boring on Alliance at least. I don't know what it looks like on Horde, but it's terrible.
I mean, it's gonna be the best shield for Word Prop Pal, so it's not bad. Let's see one of them, right?
Paladin equals Warrior. We didn't even take a stance. It's just send it.
Depends on
Forlorn
who your main
Barrier.
tank
What does
is,
it look
you
like?
know?
Forlorn Barrier.
The Forlorn Barrier looks a lot cooler than the.
Yeah.
You're in game. You can probably just shift click them, right?
You
Oh,
can't
it's
see the
it's
Horde
a
items
it's a
from the Alliance Atlas.
it's a
loot.
coffin. That looks cool as shit.
Well, that's lame.
Yeah.
What a bummer. Wow, that's way better. I feel like that's like transmog. Like, that's cool. All right. All right. Well, we're 1/5 of the way there. That was fast. Or get better looking weapons and armor. That's true, Ladon. Okay. Pride of the Eridar.
Not the best tank cloak, but
Yeah, it's like the same as the other two cloaks on the last boss.
Yep.
It's like, just
Well, this one's
Yes,
even worse
thanks.
because the 272 cloak, the tank cloak, they'll get it. Like if you're a tank, you're likely getting your 272 cloak. Because if
Yeah,
it drops, only one or two of you need it, right? Versus like everyone else, you might not get the cloak because there's a lot of people fighting over the same cloaks. So this is just extra bad.
yeah. You don't want to see this week to week, but
Yeah.
one or two will be at least equipped.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Leggings of the Soothing Touch, haste spell power, legs.
So most of the casters use tier legs, but for demos, this is the best support off piece for demo. So I would recommend giving this to your demo, and then just throwing it off to whoever else wants.
So Demo use
Legs and then the 4-piece.
tier chest. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it has the most spell power.
Yeah, I could get the most spell power.
Okay. All right. Cuirass of Calamitous Fate. Crit haste AP leather chest.
it's not best for anybody other, I think, than tank druids.
What a weird tier. This is such a weird, weird
it's
raid.
like any item in here, you could probably work it into a set if it drops. I don't know. If you have a tank druid in your raid, maybe hit them, or a druid that does any tanking. Which, if you're 3 tanking a noob, it probably isn't a bad idea just to throw this to the druid who could function as a tank on a noob. You know, it's not a big piece.
Yeah.
But, you know, give it to whoever wants it.
Cool. Okay. Bracers of the Autumn Willow.
These are the best racers for Boomkins, and I think for Resto Druids as well. So I went
Yes.
DPS over healer, but I mean, it's going to one of them. If you don't have one, give it to the other.
Yeah.
Fairly straightforward.
Okay. Not exciting. Leather bracers with spell power. Who cares? All right. Bracers of Cloudy Omen. No, wait. Hold on. Yes. Bracers of Cloudy Omen. Even
So it's,
worse.
Yeah, I mean that Resto, Holy Paladins, and Ellie's are still using the Hodier bracers.
Yeah.
So these are just like
If you don't have the
had
Hodier
bad
bracers,
RNG,
yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I got Hodier bracers on my Resto Shaman. I was excited because I know you don't want them over this over them. So,
Yeah.
there's still a few like 5 to 10 items in Ulduar that are BIS for people. So they're gonna be running Ulduar, you know, especially for that Val'kyr. Okay. Bloodbath belt, big belt.
So this belt is like interesting, right? Because it's not like a huge DPS increase. I mean, nothing really is. It was like 50 to 60 DPS, 2-minute sim for an Unholy Death Knight. Death Knights, though, tend to favor the expertise a little bit less than warriors. You're not giving... Death Knights Unholy specifically are up for a lot of other items, so in my mind, it was a bigger piece to give the warriors the expertise they needed as quick as possible. And they're replacing Cinch, right? So if you're a warrior, you got Cinch. This is an easy upgrade. It feels bad when you take off a piece of expertise or hit gear, and you don't replace it with a hit or expertise piece, and then you gotta fuck around with gems and all that other fun stuff that you get to do in WoW. So I'm thinking warrior, Ret, Unholy. Ret and Unholy are kind of equal here. Ret doesn't have that big of an expertise issue, especially if they get their mace, and if they need to, they can run the seal glyph, but ideally they're not. So not a huge item. I'm thinking warriors first, and then DKs, Rets.
Yeah, Josh was saying there's difference in Horde and Alliance here because Horde warriors don't want this.
That is true. Yep, that's Horde warriors value hit more on gear because they don't have a Drain Eye. This tier, and I think this is like the first tier I can think of, is like their alliance don't have access to her sword or mace, right? So it's or they do, but the axes are just better. Armor pen axes are just better.
There's like cudgel and stuff, but whatever. Okay, so Alliance warriors do bloodbath belt, but Horde warriors use that mail belt. What's it called? I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
It is the Waistguard of Deathly Dominion.
Right, where is that? Often new belt of Deathly Dominion, Waistguard of Deathly Dominion. Yeah, okay. So, depending on what your faction is, you're gonna adjust your prio. It'll be nice to upgrade from a 239 cinch to a 258 belt as a warrior. Okay.
Yeah.
Charge of the Demon Lord, Charge of the Eridar, neck. Actually, wait. I skipped a bunch of shit. Let's go back. Leg plates of Failing Light, Paladin. Congratulations.
Paladin.
Leg guards of Feverish Dedication, defense parry expertise. I don't think there's much.
I think DKs use that.
It's just
as,
your tank prio is just gonna be
yeah.
pretty.
It's just tank.
Do DKs use over?
I don't think blood DKs use their 4-piece T9. They'll
Okay.
use the chest plate and the legs. So I just.
So
put
it's just
DK there.
DKs, sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, the other 2 plate tanks are using their T9 legs and their best.
Well,
so
one thing to
it's
keep
like
in mind is you
whoever
might not get
wants.
tier as a tank, so pick this up at least.
Yeah, it's definitely worth not DEing.
Yeah.
The tier set bonuses for tanks were kind of meh, right?
Right.
They were like
Yeah.
Death and DK does more damage or something.
Yeah. Okay. Dawnbreaker Greaves, more tankier, defense, dodge, parry. Does everybody use these?
Druid's Canic weapon, Joardee.
Sure. Oh, what did I do here? Pummel, what did you do?
What do you mean?
The color's gone. Okay, you added it. Dawnbreaker Greaves.
Yeah,
So it's not
Warrior, Paladin, and
warriors.
DK.
Greaves of the Lightning Vortex are what warriors use. Where do those drop? I don't fucking- Whatever.
We'll get to 'em.
Josh Journey, $10. Hey,
Hey mate, would be remiss of me to not donate when good content
Thanks,
is being
man.
made. Also robes/vestments of Ascent off Northrend Beasts should have a note that they're very almost bis for druid since first place is 258 boomy tier that we won't ever get given.
Okay, we're gonna keep that in mind, Josh. Thank you so much for the $10, dude. The boomies want those robes off of
Oh,
Northrend
here it
Beasts,
goes.
Pummel,
Pummel.
because they might not get tier.
Well, I planned around absolute bis, so if you don't get tier, as I said,
I
you
think
can plan
I
around
think that
it.
question was
adjust.
asked earlier. Is like this time it wasn't a realistic bis. This was an absolute bis because that's what more people were interested in.
Yeah, in the past,
Plan around full bis.
in the past, we had done realistic bis, and for a lot of hybrids and healers and stuff, we put what your realistic bis setup would look like, with prio going to DPS or tanks depending on the need. And everybody hated it, and they were like, I don't care about this, I just want to see what my absolute bis is. So we said, fuck it, we'll just do absolute bis, and then you're gonna have to sort through everyone else's gear in order to get what you're likely going to be shooting for. Depending on your guys' feedback on this choice, we might go back, but doing it this way was a lot easier, honestly, because you don't have to think about what other people's prios are. All you have to do when you're making the bis list is just like what sims the best. So
I just added next to the flowing vestments Arcane because it's their absolute bis, and then Boomkin if you don't have any tier.
Yeah.
There you go. It's that
Yeah.
easy.
So if you like this format with the absolute bis, let us know. If you don't, let us also know.
The big issue I think that will come out of this in TOGC, and it was brought up, was the tier token availability. The 258 tier token. It's like, oh, if I don't get my 258 tier, then this set is a little bit better.
Yeah.
If I do get it, which as a boomkin on
Why
bank,
don't we just go?
I don't know.
Nice.
you might not be getting 258.
Yeah, Boomkin getting tier seems, possible. It really depends on how many weeks we get, right? In the intro of the sheet, we talked about, we did this on a 12-week timeline, and you're likely gonna get about if you get 4 per week, you're looking at 80 to 90 required items for full BIS for a full raid, and if there's only 12 weeks, then you're only getting 36 pieces of tier, which is, or 48 pieces of tier, which is like about half of the tier that your whole raid's gonna want.
I think it definitely depends on your environment and what you're doing every week. If you're doing 10-man heroics, you're getting the trophies. 245 4-piece is super attainable for literally everybody. And if you're talking about the semantics of a 245, 258, obviously there's a difference. And maybe that'll manipulate some of the off pieces you could get. But the majority of the time, it's going to be so marginal, you're not even going to notice it. And if it's something really big, like the Boomkins will use that chest, well, I'm more than happy to add it. I'll just put the class and then no tier. But I can't sim literally every single piece for every single class in every single scenario, because that's a lot of time. And this took a lot of time itself, so we just did the best with what we have, and we move on from it. But you will all get 245. If you do 10-man, you get 4 trophies.
Yep.
Raid gets 4 trophies. They're going to be going to healer off spec sooner than you could snap your
by
fingers
week
and
3,
blank.
yeah.
We can circle back to tier.
Sure.
I think that's
Okay.
a circle back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then Choker or Charge of the Demon Lord. I think we started that over here.
Yeah, so this is like a jump up from Vezix and 6 item levels better than the Vezix neck. So who doesn't have the Vezix neck that would wear this would get this, in my opinion. Be kind of everyone simmed like, oh, it's a 20 DPS upgrade from Vezix neck. So Vezix neck seemed to be kind of rare. A lot of people wanted it, super contested. So just continue that. Like, who doesn't have Vezix neck? Now they get this one.
This is also like one of those like not super
Terrible.
sexy items, so I don't think
Oh,
people
got
are
a
gonna be
good
clamoring
shot.
over
Bitch.
it.
Why don't we just go-
Whereas,
It's weird because it is. I mean, if you
All
don't have a
gear to
Vezix neck, this is
F-Fox.
super sexy,
sure,
right?
yeah, because you'd be using what something from 10 man, maybe Seed of Budding Courage,
Carnage,
yeah,
like something just silly.
sure,
Yeah.
okay,
So big item, but you shouldn't be hard pressed to find who needs it. Vezix was a pretty easy boss, and if you're giving it to someone who doesn't have, who has 252, and someone doesn't have 252, then I don't know. Maybe let that guy know he's on his way out.
yeah. I mean, it's BIS for a lot of people, so you're gonna want a bunch of them, but maybe it's not the most exciting. All right. Where are we? Ring of the Dark Mender.
This is the best ring for healers. It's hard to quantify which healer does the most with it in the research that I was doing, so I would say just give it to your best one, or whoever doesn't have the ring. I know Holy Paladins, for example, use the Reply Code Alpha as their BIS, so if they already have that, maybe throw some love to your Resto Shaman or Resto Druid. But if you have a consistent, long-standing pumper healer, just toss it to them, and I bet they'll appreciate it.
I'd give this to Disc last, because it's got a bunch of haste on it, and we don't really care about the haste. So, but yeah, other than that, okay. Solace of the Defeated, finally an exciting item for healers. Spell power. Each time you cast a spell, gain 18 MP5 for 10 seconds, stacks up to 8 times.
This is best for Resto Shaman, Resto Druid, and for Priest. And they're basically, like, Priests still have Illustration. Resto Druids are still using, I think, the Yogg Trinket. I might be wrong. And same with Resto Shaman. So,
Yeah.
I didn't really see a need to put any of them in front of any of the other. It's not BIS game. They're all replacing a next tier. Is another pumper piece.
Yeah, if priests are still using Illustration, which is very weird, it would replace Show of Faith, which is not the biggest upgrade. I'd probably go Resto Druid or Resto Shaman on this over a priest, just because upgrading from 252 Yogg Flute to this is not the most exciting thing. But not the best item, not the most exciting item. Yeah, and I think it is PvP BIS for the healers. So in GTKPs, you might have some crazy arena healers going crazy over this. Okay, finally a cool looking item for Alliance at least. Symbol of Transgression. Hit crit spell power offhand.
So this is basically a slightly better Cosmos. Right? It's a 6 eye level difference Cosmos, and the people that use it in their absolute BIS are Fire Mage, Demos, because that's most spell power, and Boomkins. I put that if the mage really needs the hit and they don't have a Cosmos, give it to them first. Otherwise, they're all basically equal in my eyes. This tier for Demo, the eye level and the spell power for the raid isn't as prominent, so there's a lot less Demo superiority for all the caster items that I was accustomed to last year. But if the Fire Mage needs a hit, because I'm assuming mages are going TTW. If they're not, this kind of changes a lot of the priority, but I'm assuming mages are going to TTW where they need 14% hit, have no hit talents, so hit pieces are probably going to lean more towards them until they have the hit they need to succeed.
It's a cool looking Alliance, at least, offhand. It's not the most, what's the word? Ecologically sound, just wasting all this water, but, you know, whatever. I think Azeroth's probably fine. Okay. Lionhead Slasher. Finally an exciting item.
Yeah, it's a weapon. It gives rogues, you know, the start into their but the only other axe I can think of off the top of my head was the Yogg axe, but an offhand to get into the hack and slash build for combat. So I'm thinking rogues first on here. Unholy DKs may use this. We talked a lot about Unholy DKs and Frost DK weapons and the nuance there. I'd hit your combat rogue first, and then your Unholy DK next. It's exciting to see drop one, two, three of them, but yeah, it's not a huge weapon.
Rogue over Unholy. Rogues seem to get prio on whatever weapons they want this phase, regardless of spec, which is nice for them.
Well, they have two options. Well, they have one for combat, right? They have a main hand and offhand. I assume if you're playing combat, you want to go hack and slash. I feel like that's a big enough, you know, DPS increase that you prio those rogues as weapons. You're not gonna have a lot of rogues.
Yeah.
DKs have access to more weapons because they have the cudgels. And there's like some sleeper like tank 258 weapons that, you know, you might run if you don't have something better. So it's DKs have a little bit more flexibility.
Hi, Rugs. Rogue needs double weapon upgrade before you change to hack and slash. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give this to somebody saying, oh, well, this guy doesn't have one, right? Then you're always in a situation where it's like he's going to need one. So I think that you just prio one combat rogue, you know, who's your combat rogue, and you just slap him with the axes.
Oh, we got a good shot.
Actually, we can go. Why don't we just go?
Thanks, Cassie, very much. Okay. This is I can't see the horde version of this. I hate not being able to see the horde version of items. Sorry. What's up? Okay. Talent Strike. This is the boring, shitty hunter item. Toxic with the 20. Hi, Toxic.
Actually, we can go. Why don't we just go?
Missed you. Morgan says hi.
It's technically, so this is a weird one, right? Like, it's BIS Warrior, not BIS Hunter. Where do you go with it? I don't know. Like, it's like you feel bad like giving like a stat stick to a warrior.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent about it. If I was probably the hunter, I'd probably want the BRK, but there's usually more hunters in a raid than warriors. I'm likely leaning hunter for the first. You know, if you see one of these.
Remember
either way.
Remember in Sunwell where it was like we had 2 hunters in a raid and one of them wasn't getting Thor it all. And so if you got the Eridar twins bow first, you're like, all right, I guess I'm not getting Thor it all first. And this is kind of like that, where it's like if you get this, then you're not getting BRK first, and then you get to sit in the back. But honestly, it's pretty close, right? So not a huge deal, and you mostly get a huge amount of gear as a hunter regardless, just pushed on you. So
And what's interesting, this is an art piece, right? So what does it look like for the marksman set? And I know some of the hunters that I've talked to said they're likely to play marksman over survival for something like twins.
interesting. Okay.
So you can look around. We didn't do any marksman simming, but I
Yeah.
wonder if it is better because it is an ARP.
Gotta get out that, what is it, Chimera shot? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played marksman in pre-patch and thought it was fun, but survival is just way more fun. Okay. Well, that is Jaraxxus. We are almost halfway done. Not bad. It's only been an hour. Pummel, you okay?
I'm not falling asleep. I'm just adjusting stuff.
Okay.
Also, I was thinking we're gonna get like 15 of those guns because it's all that's ever gonna drop.
Yep.
So why are hunters worrying about their weapons?
Because Ladon exists.
Classic.
Okay. Cloak of Displacement. Hit, haste, spell power.
Whoever needs it.
Yeah, this is another one of those bummer items that you're gonna want the
All
272
these
version,
cloaks.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there's no 272 hit cloak, so
but you
it's hit
don't
haste,
need the
which is
hit
different.
for.
well, people could build around that hit if they wanted to, I guess. Like if you have the Owl Cloak, for example, and you get like one of the new 258 offhands without the hit, like a Mystifying Charm or a Chalice of Searing Light, you could swap the Shroud Displacement on, Cloak
Yeah.
Displacement, whatever.
Okay.
You know? But it just depends who wants to do that. Like a lot of people are just like, Absolute Biss, I don't want anything else. DE it.
Yeah.
So,
That's such a common thing these days.
very, very common.
Ladon. All right.
Yeah, it is sad.
Heal Hands Cloak. I like it. I like it.
I don't think Heal Hanses need hit.
to the hands part they do, right?
Yeah,
you
not
gotta
the
do.
heal
You gotta
part.
do. Damn. That's half their
Yeah.
job. Okay. Cord of Biting Cold. Hit, crit, spell power, waste.
So this is very similar to the offhand situation of Jaraxxus, where it's another hit crit piece that the mages can use if they need the hit. You're going from probably Star Watcher's binding to Belt of Binding Cold, so they might not necessarily need this piece to fill out their hit. If they do not need the piece to fill out their hit, then it's equal prio with the Boomkins. 'Cause
Okay.
The Boomkins need some love, and it's best for them. Big crit, big lunar eclipse.
Yeah, I like this going Boomkin if we can. I feel like they're not getting much else, right?
It's unfortunate that a lot of stuff ends up in the Fire Mage category because mages have no hit talents, so very unlucky.
Yeah. Mages are also taking off this tier, so.
Yep.
Okay. One of two cloth belts. Make sure you know which one that you're supposed to get. Okay. Boots of the Morning Widow.
So this is an interesting piece, and it's one of those pieces that is like it's the Boots of Flame Leviathan plus 6 eye levels, so it's this for mostly everybody. But I'm gonna give the edge to mages here, only because when mages get 2 piece of tier 9, they get 15% of their crit from Spirit. So Spirit's a more attractive option, and most of them probably have Yogg boots, because they gave up on their Flame Leviathan boot dreams because everybody else needed those as well. So if they have the Yogg boots, they get almost double the DPS out of everybody else from swapping from those Yogg boots to these boots. So if they have those Yogg boots, and only if they have those Yogg boots, is Fire Mage Prio. Otherwise, it's all equal. Pumper piece, no one Flame Leviathan boot piece.
Big item, yeah.
But very, very big caveat. Yogg boots, then go
Shield
them.
mages. That's
All the mages are like, I never got those Flame Leviathan boots. I swear I never got them.
I'm not shilling mages. It's just they're in a very good place. Very good place.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm sure that we'll change the prior on this 12 times. It is what it is.
Yippee.
All right. Oh my God, it's the Vestments of the Blind Denizen. Wait. No, it's not. What is that? What is this item? Vestments of the Shattered Fellowship.
That's
Ugh.
Gratz Druids.
Awful. Sad. I think the Pallies are going to use this one eventually.
This is a holdover piece until they get their tier.
Sad.
But potential off piece, but I don't think it's a very good off piece. So.
Sad. All right.
Yep.
Treads of the Ice Walker. Hit AP, armor pen, leather boots.
So originally, and I don't know if this is still, yeah, this is still correct. It's so we're thinking feral over rogue, and then warrior only if horde troll. So more explanation behind that. I think the hit was easier to pick up for the rogues than it was the druids, who aren't going for way over a hit cap, where rogues will continue to build hits. So it made more sense to get these out to your feral druids, and feral druids are pumping right now, and then go your rogues.
Okay.
And then if you have a troll warrior, you gotta figure him out somewhere.
Poor troll warriors.
There has to be one out there. Like there's troll warriors, right? I mean, why not just
They're not even boots, right? They just it's like ankle bracers, right?
Troll warriors are very common.
Their
They
feet
kind
are
of own.
huge out the bottom.
I
aren't
mean,
they?
like, do you go orc now with the axes giving you the expertise? I feel
I don't. I mean, I think Alonso just race swapped to troll, and I know a bunch of people that are swapped to troll.
That's the problem with being the only alliance guild in the world.
It's just a Parsi race, I guess. I don't know. Orcs are cool though. I mean, I would probably play troll, but you
I
know.
like that orc animations way more as a warrior. But
I guess who sims higher? I didn't factor
Troll.
that in. Like, is it troll with troll bis? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure troll. Could be wrong.
Shadowmourne troll.
Definitely within the realm of possibility. They like Berserking just scales really well because
Sure,
Blood
yeah.
Fury is static, and Berserking is like a percent base.
So they're gonna be changing back to orc at the beginning of Kata, I guess.
Yeah, they stream 20 DPS higher than Orc in P3 disc.
Pretty minimal.
But did you do the swaps? Like, did you do the weird swaps between troll and horde?
No, I'm just reading the Fury P3
Oh.
discs
Because-
on Fight Club. I don't know
okay.
Your axes will be less good as a troll, right?
Yeah, but you make it up with that belt, which nobody really cares about in these. So you just say move over rogues and
Okay.
druids when you take these.
Okay. All right. Bracers of the Untold Massacre.
So we have these ones going to. Let me check my notes.
Hunter over warrior.
Hunter over warrior. Warrior needs to find the expertise to replace the bracers first. If they have warrior greater than uncle or hunter. Yeah, this. So if you're taking off solar bindings, you probably need the expertise. Hunters will probably just pull these up, put these on.
Where do you get that expertise? This
You'll
phase?
get it from the belt, which you cinch, and then the boots.
Okay, so
right?
the boots are really
So
where you get it.
yeah. And we simmed this today, me and Zath, and it was like if you have solar and alg boots, and you swapped to these bracers and the 258 boots, it was a total gain of like 50 DPS. So replacing two items, you gain 50 DPS.
Pretty small.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it kind of unlocks more doing it that way.
Yeah, like, well, no, because I mean, you could run around with solar bindings for a little bit, right, and get your expertise from there.
Okay.
So but yeah, you eventually need to get the boots to take off solar bindings.
Uh,
worry about the gloves, and I'd wear this. I mean, you got Jaraxxus, your Pesty could miss there. You have a noob, your Pesty can miss. Obviously, faction champs, Pesty. The only single target encounter in the fight are the two bosses in the Northern Beasts. So we made the Absolute Bis, and the Absolute Bis single target DPS is the gloves. But if I'm playing Frost, I'm running this.
I'm being told it's also blood DPS Bis, but
Yeah. Pummel, did you make that list?
The blood DPS list? Yeah, I left it on my other computer.
guys, if blood DPS ends up being a thing, it's still not a thing. But if it ends up being a thing by the end of TOGC, we might include it for ICC. But at the moment, it's not.
I mean,
and we just can't.
Like, we didn't make a BIS list for sub rogue PVE. Like, give me a class that has over like 5,000 people logging it every single week.
Yeah. If you wanna, flex and do some crazy shit, Sarth's doing it, I know, but by all means, do it. All right, Van Bracers of the Broken Bond. I'm pretty sure I know where this is going.
I'm not even gonna say it.
Paladin, congratulations. Girdle of Bloodied Scars. Strength, stam, defense, dodge, parry. Plate belt. Probably just anybody with plate. There you go.
Wow.
Super
Congratulations.
complicated. Grats tanks. Grats.
I love tanks.
Okay. Ring of Callous Aggression. Crit haste AP.
Should probably just DE that one.
Yeah,
Probably
this
good.
isn't
I don't
a
think
big
anybody
item.
wants it.
Okay, so what are the notes here? I have
we
Warrior
didn't,
equals
we didn't
rogue
even
equals
take a
lance
stand. We just said
equals hunter equals red. This for everyone. There are 10-man rings that are like kind of close to this, that you would use as upgrades over your current rings. I don't think it has like a logical place. Everybody wants it. Maybe give it to a pumper in your raid. I'm sure that within the Sims, like there was a margin, a range between like 40 to like 70 DPS upgrades between the classes. I don't think that's in that percentage that says, hey, obviously this class first. So it just kind of goes anywhere.
cool.
It's you want a lot of them.
Yeah, this is probably the item you want to see the most off this boss, right?
Sure.
Maybe Justice Bringer.
Justice Bringer.
Justice Bringer.
Are we skipping this?
No, we'll do Citrina's. It's a tank trinket. Seems pretty
you
good.
It is a good tank trinket. I don't think there's any prio. It's just give it to your main tanks.
Yeah.
Probably if you're running a pally, main tank him first, and depending on who your guy off tanking is. I mean, a lot of those fights could be single tanked.
Yeah. It's paired with the Heart of Iron for most of the tank sets. Citrina's is cool. Okay, Justice Bringer. Here we go.
So this was one that I thought we were gonna have a fight over at the beginning, and turns out that only warriors are going to be wanting this thing. So
Ooh. The Rets can sit down?
Yeah, so with Catastrophe dropping the seal, the expertise seal glyph, Brett's come out with a little bit better set in Absolute Bis.
Cool. I love that. For both classes, for Ret and Warrior, don't have to worry about it. Feels like two-handers used to be very important, and now they're just like not that big a deal. I don't know. We'll wait till shot.
Say that in ICC.
Yeah. Okay. Grats Warriors on Justice Bringer. Dual Blade Butcher, and let's see what Dual Blade Butcher looks like. Dual Blade Butcher. It looks way cooler than Justice Bringer does. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. All right, and finally, Bastion of Purity.
Caster Shield, just because it has an MP5 on it. One Ellie, then Holy Paladin equals Resto Shaman.
Ellie over Holy Paladin equals Resto Shaman. Yeah, I think it's a pretty small upgrade. Haste, 100 spell power, and crit. No MP5.
They're probably using Wisdom's Hold anyway, so it's not. Those drop a dime a dozen.
Cool. Did I embed it?
Every single item has a link.
I think that
Thanks, Pummel, for doing that.
that one's all embedded. But the physical ones are. Geez, Pummel, you went crazy on this. Thank you. I should have been pushing these. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Okay. Skyweaver robes onto the twin Valks.
So these are a very interesting piece. I mean, the big caster pumpers, Fs, and little fire mages use this as their best off piece. Again, mages need a lot of hit. They are TTW. Warlocks have their weapons and this chest, and that is kind of it. So I would recommend Affliction Lock. The fire mages would burn me alive in real life. Somehow found my address. I guarantee it. If I say that it should only go to Afflock first. So I'm gonna say equal, but I would go Affliction Lock first.
I love it. I like that. The reason the mages are so worried about it is because there's 4 Afflocks in a raid or 3 Afflocks in a raid, so it's going to take.
Well, there's a lot of items where they're getting priority because they need hit, and it's screwing over all the other casters because they don't have hit talents. So yeah. I'm gonna say what I think, but in reality, we're gonna say they're equal because there are some guilds where their fire mages is carrying the overall. It's like it might be a Hodir diff. I'm not gonna cope with that because AFs also benefit from Hodir diff. So whoever cranks, this is their off piece. Treat them well, treat them nice, give it to them.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Big item. All right.
Big item.
Bindings of Dark Essence.
So the only one who uses these and their absolute best holds are fire mages. Wow. So I would recommend giving it to them and then giving it to the rest. Boomkins can use these as like a hit crit off piece if they want to. I don't think they want to. And not really many of the classes are interested in a hit crit pair bracers. So that's about it. Nice and easy.
There you go. Cool. A lot of hit. Are these bis for disc? Are they?
The hit crit ones are bis for disc.
Are they bis for disc?
Oh, they are.
They
Binding
are.
in dark. I'll add them there.
You'll never give these to a disc priest over anybody else that wants them. Sorry. Disc.
Well, actually, let's change that real quick. Fire over all other DPS if they want, and then disc.
Then disc. I
There
do
you go.
play 5 disc priests, but I'm realistic about. How do I not know?
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna do this.
I know,
Or-
Snap, but there's a lot going on. Shut up. Fuck off. All right. Belt of the Merciless Killer. Cinch icon.
So originally, this was one of those items that when Pharaohs weren't getting soul, or Pharaohs might have wore solar, I thought this would be a great piece to give to them. Now it's kind of changed, and I think it's Pharaoh equals Rogue over enhance on these. I think the 252 bracers, or I'm sorry, the belt that the shamans currently wear, it's not far behind this. And Pharaoh and Rogue seem to gain a little bit more.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Feral
could
don't
probably
get
be-
prio on really anything in here, so.
Yeah, I mean, the Pharaohs are in a good spot.
Well, yeah. Thanks to Daddy Blizzard, but prio-wise, they seem to be lowish. Wait, we gotta adjust this coloring here. Feral over Rogue equals Troll Warrior. So let me adjust that. I gotta fix that. There. Okay. Cord of Pale Thorns. Oh my god, another haste spell power leather item.
So this one's actually a little interesting because in the Healer Abyss, the Resto Shamans and the Resto Druids are using this. This is also a non-hit option for Boomkin if they have a Star Watchers and want to move on to a 258 belt and they don't want to go for the crit belt. I would recommend giving it to the healers first here. Very rare, because this is their absolute best by far. But if you have a Cranker Boom Kid who's interested, I would hear him out.
Okay. I also saw Holy Pallies fucking around with this. I don't know if they ended up deciding whether or not it was their BIS, but it's not on our list, but I think it's possible.
So they have the Belt of the Forgotten Martyr, which is a 245, I think, from 10 man, which is pretty freaking good with crit MP5, a socket. So
yeah, okay.
I could add them on there at the end.
No, leave it for now. We'll see. I'm
Okay.
sure someone's gonna yell at me. Cujo will yell at me. Okay,
We'll figure it out.
Sabatons of Ruthless Judgment. Hit AP armor pen.
Grats Hunters.
Grats Hunters. Easy item.
Easy one.
A lot of gear is hunter gear. A lot of gear is just easy. Give it to the hunters.
And they'll find a way to make that. Well, no, not all hunters. Ladon will find a way to make that an issue.
A curse, sure. All right. Breastplate of the Frozen Lake. That's a pretty easy pally item. Congratulations.
H-Pow.
Bracers of the Shield Maiden. Pretty easy tank item. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Paladins use the 10-man bracers apparently, so don't give it to them. Leg guards of Ascension. Crit haste. Plate legs.
My opinion is Unholy way above Ret. Like if both classes have the 252 piece, Unholy gain like upwards of like 60, 70 DPS.
This is
and
the
Ret
Unholy
above-
off piece?
Yeah, this will be your Unholy off piece. Tiny upgrade for a Ret, big one for Unholy. Unholy over Ret.
Okay. Cool.
Big upgrade over Rets, right? Right hands?
It was big. Like I was when I simmed it, when I
Huge.
compared and simmed and made that like judgment call like I don't know like 3-4 weeks ago. I was like, wow, there's no
Massive.
argument for a ret. The only argument is I didn't get Flame Leviathan legs, and then it's just like go get Flame Leviathan legs. It's the first boss.
The one thing about it though is Unholy probably are getting tier. So
Juice them, man.
maybe,
Juice them.
yeah. They're not getting much in ICC, I guess. So give them what
They're
they want
not.
now.
They're
and
really
then-
not
and
getting
then
much in ICC.
Hope that they don't quit.
I love Ret Paladins.
Yeah. Okay. Wiggum, thanks, man. What's next? The Arbiter's Muse.
Tank.
Defense
Next.
dodge. Easy. Clap. Main tank. The Executioner's Malice. Hit crit strength with a socket.
This piece is just probably going to be Unholy DKs. Frost may use it in a set. Ret may use it in a set, but ideally they want other necks. I think we got to take a look at the Abyss list. I think the Sims are different than the list, right? So blame Pummel for that. But this will be
What?
Unholy. This will be Unholy.
Yes.
This will be Unholy Death Knight.
Oh, did you change your background? I feel like
No, it's my camera's usually flipped
it's
horizontal.
reversed. Okay. And your door's closed. I'm usually like, why can't I see your kitchen? All right.
Why are you trying to look at my kitchen weird?
I mean, why are you trying to look at my living room? There's only 2 people and a dog in it. It's not a big deal. All right. All right. We're getting close to something very interesting. Whale of the Val'kyr.
That's a good neck.
So yeah, it's a very good neck, and it's a lot of. It depends on what people have, I guess, is the best way to put it, because a lot of people are using the Flame Leviathan neck as a base for hit, and there are people who are using the Iron Council neck, like mages, who would transition better with the neck, but I know there's warlocks who built using the Iron Council neck as well. So I basically put equal prio to all the casters because it's a 6 eye level upgrade over the current necks, and it's definitely marginal. If you could use the hit, then it's better, but I would recommend going a pumper DPS over healer who can make the gearing work.
It's also healer bis across the board, but good luck getting it.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
God,
really-
why do I do this to myself?
It's really interesting.
I've been playing
That's-
healer
that's
for
all I said.
4
It's
years.
just-
It's just I get just beat up on. It's whatever. All right,
No one's beating up. It's just
Sure.
super interesting.
sure. Demo warlocks don't use it for what it's worth. We love our demo warlocks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, yeah, we didn't put any Oni loot on this. I mean, it's all only a couple things are.
Well, there's not a single Oni piece in absolute bis because it's all 245 year, right?
Shadow Priest, Aura of
Yeah,
Transcendence.
that is.
I guess the priest only helm is we should have put an entire
Shit!
box down for the priest
Yeah.
only helm. My bad.
Yeah. No, that's my fault. I should have thought ahead.
I'm livid.
We didn't even try Oni on the PTR, but I heard you could 10-man the 25-man version, so I think it's kind of like VOA.
Wow, that classic.
All right, here we go. Get ready for all of the scrubs to this moment. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the video. Let's talk about Death's Verdict. Death's Choice,
Well.
Death's Verdict.
The most interesting comment about Death's Verdict was when Baron, RGM, and Main Tank linked it in Discord and said, "So this looks pretty good for my prop paladin. Do you think there's a shot?" And it's just like, no, there is no shot.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, I mean that'd be awesome threat trinket for prop pal.
Some nice
but,
splits. Send it.
So I mean, Ret and Unholy are very close in DPS gain from this thing, and they're both very, very close in longevity. I personally would go Unholy Death Knight above any Rets. Maybe not every Unholy Death Knight in the world above every Ret in the world, but 2 equal players, I'm probably looking to put it on the Unholy DK, and then the Ret, and then the Hunter. Hunters are weird too. They're a little bit. I mean, they're not in a like the DPS they are behind isn't that a number that I would consider like a significant number that you would never prio them on this. I could see giving it to a Hunter, but if you have Unholy Pumpers, they go first, followed by Rets, followed by Hunters. You know, depending on your guild, maybe you have a Survival Hunter that just cranks and he's, you know, mopping up the Unholy Death Knights. And, you know, as long as the Unholy Death Knights aren't far behind on gear, you know, I think maybe you'd go Hunter and your raid, but in a raid of equal caliber players, it's Unholy Ret Hunter.
Yeah. It's the Comets Trail of the phase.
So I didn't. If we look back to the last time, I think I said Unholy second on Comets behind Rogues. That was my stance. And for the most part, that still feels okay. It feels bad as I am an Unholy Death Knight without a Comets right now. And we had a Rogue quit who has a Comet, so that kind of feels bad. But I still kind of stand by that. But yeah, I think Death's Verdict is the other way. I think it's Unholy then Ret.
Yeah, I think most people are thinking Prio, Unholy, 4-piece tier, and Death's Verdict, and they can backseat for the rest of the phase. And that's
Well,
already
there's a lot
like
of free items to them too. It's a good raid to be an Unholy Death Knight in. It's weird, right? Like it, you know, as a Death Knight main right now, it kind of feels a little, you know, too much. But at the same time, this is almost your BIS for the entire game, right? This is like you're
Is
not.
it?
Yeah, because all the items in ICC are like dog shit itemized for Unholy, right? Like all these pieces are like haste, hit,
Okay.
haste, crit.
So it
Once
is
that,
BIS for the game for
Yeah.
Unholy. That seems like
yeah, and red,
enough of
and
an
red.
argument.
So
Red
I
too,
mean, it's
okay.
red too. So like, there's an argument there. And man, how many? I think we ran and killed a noob like, I don't know. It felt like 50 times this week that on the PTR, and we saw like 4 of these. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
TOG's a quick instance. It'd be, you know, I was making a comment that this trinket is so good that even the normal version is good, and it feels bad because I'd be happy with the normal version.
But you can't,
You know what I mean?
because you're always going to
Yeah.
be doing heroic. Yeah.
I'd be ecstatic to get just the normal version of this trinket,
Yeah.
even if they were unique equip and I couldn't equip them both. I'd be happy with that and be like, at least I got the normal one. I can move on with my life. But yeah,
Sure.
this is a big item.
Okay. Well, we're doing Unholy over Rhett over everyone else.
If there was a fourth hands instead of arrest, what would you put there?
A fourth, the
A
next
third?
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, a fourth person after Unholy, Red
oh.
Hunter, then who?
Oh yeah.
Out of all the rest.
I feel like Rogues got a lot of it. Rogues and Druids got a lot of it. I feel like how I imagine the meta going is like Deathbringer's Will going to Warriors pretty early. There's the trinket off what's her name? The Lady Death Whisperer. That's not a bad item. I think it even looks like Death's Verdict, but it's not a horrible trinket, but it's a consolation price to Death's Verdict. What's the name of that trinket?
I don't see it off of Death Whisperer.
Is it the 10-man?
The Whispering Fang Skull or whatever?
Whispering Fang Skull, yeah. So it's like not the best, it's not better, but it's it's kind of like a nice item, get a DV. And then Rets will get a free tiny A-bombs probably. Rogues might look into getting that too, but I mean there's a lot of trinket options, but I don't know. Warrior probably last, Rogue somewhere in the middle, and then the order that I had.
Cool. Okay. I think that sounds good. This is gonna be this is one of like 3 mega juice items you want to see in this raid.
And I think everyone who doesn't get a DV should be happy with the trinkets they do get in ICC. Like if you're not a warrior, a hunter, or I'm sorry, if you're not an unholy or a ret, you could say, okay, I'll pass on this one and I'll be happy with what I get in ICC.
Yeah. This other than tier splits for this item are going to be really, really nice. If you can somehow get a split off the ground at this point, now would be the time.
Yeah, you want a lot of those for sure.
Yeah. You need like 8 or 10 or something, right? It's just like a lot of people want it. How much will Verdict go in the GDP? It depends on your GDP. How many
like
WoW
10K.
tokens? Good question.
10K at least, probably, maybe.
10K at least, yeah. I'd agree with Pummel.
There's like items that like at this phase of the game, like I couldn't put a price on. Like I would pay upwards of like 300K for a Comet Trail right now. If you could guarantee it to drop, I'd pay that much.
How many WoW tokens is that?
I don't know. It's a lot of WoW tokens.
Tokens are 5K right now, so you can think about it.
What would Sarth pay for the sigil right now?
Sarth doesn't have his own gold, so he's fine. Don't worry about it. All right. Chalice of Searing Light. Okay, that was Death's Verdict. Thanks, everybody. See you guys later. Have a good one. We're gonna finish it.
Chalice of Searing Light is not that interesting. It's a spirit crit, no hit offhand. So I just put DPS over healers, any DPS that needs it, because most of the healers are using.
Oh, that's my disc bis, baby.
That's Dispis. I have Chalice of. Oh, that is a mistype. Healers. Alright, that's just going to healers. I'll change the color.
Hell
later.
yeah, brother! I get an item.
Yeah, that's big Dispis.
I'm gonna get that week
And
one
I guess
and then
that's
just.
I guess
sleep
that's
the rest
it.
of the
I thought
phase.
that said Chalice of Benedictus. I don't know why, but yeah, it's going to Disc. Scratch Disc Priest.
Healer loot. Rats disc priests. We get something. Finally. All right.
Don't get too happy. Might have to change the prio.
Yep. Twin Spike. I have a guess.
Gratz Rogues.
Grats Rogues.
Rats Rogues.
Grats Rogues.
Rats Rogues. Savvy fun time.
It's not Biss, but sure, it's a dagger.
Grats Rogues.
Okay. Lupine Longstaff.
This one is like, I almost want to phone a friend because I was like trying to wrap my head on why the Horde and Alliance Feral sets are different. But technically, I think what Pummel was telling me today is Lupine Longstaff is Biss Feral Horde.
Hmm.
And I think he got that information from a reliable source, a guy who plays Feral Druid. I don't know.
Wait, that's
It's called Twins Pact for the Horde, sir, and it looks badass.
Yes. Yep.
Who might that be?
And yeah, I mean, be happy that you're. I think the feral in your raid will be happy to get both, right? Like eventually they'll probably get both. Hopefully not, because this might be a short phase and that's an item that didn't drop. But I think you go feral first.
Okay.
I would agree with that. Options
If
are
there's
nice.
one feral in a raid, whatever staff first,
Yeah.
they'd probably just take it
Yeah.
and be happy.
We kind of did that with the staves in World War II, right? There was the staff of XT, I think, or
Yeah.
I can't remember. And then there was Dreambinder, and it was just like take whichever is first.
There was
and-
there was. I don't want to bring this up because, like, I don't know, Hunters might get the wrong impression, but like, I think I did a sim and Hunter gained more DPS off one like Archonglaive than a Feral did,
Oh boy.
and it was just like, well, I don't know,
Yeah.
let's just hit the Feral and he can be happy. But Dawn's saying yep in chat.
Yeah.
so-
Surprise,
Classic.
surprise. Okay. All right. Off to the final boss. Not the final loot pinata, but the final boss, Anub'arak. Mark II. Maiden's Favor. Oh, more cloaks. I love cloaks.
It's like the Healer 258 cloak that is a holdover. Actually, it might be their like what they get, but I doubt a healer is gonna get Jaina's Radiance unless they're like an officer or they like
Oh, I'm getting a Janus Radiance.
I mean I believe Joardee will somehow find a way to it, just like he found a way. But
well,
it's,
we're using Drape of the Soul and
yeah.
Goddess, which is 252, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's like a side grade, basically, like 6 eye levels, like just
not a big deal.
it's a vibe.
It's a vibe. Strength of the Narub, hit, crit, strength.
This is the baby version of the cloak, the hard mode cloak. Death Knights would be kind of looking for this if they don't get the hard mode cloak.
Yeah, 10-minute cloaks being better, kind of make it not exciting, right? But it is what it is.
Yep.
Okay. Armbands of the Ashen Saint. Guys,
So
we
this
might be done
is-
by 2 hours. I'm very excited about this.
This is absolute best for Warlocks, Shadow Priests, and Arcane Mages with almost an equal DPS upgrade through Sims because we're assuming they have Grasp of Reason from XT. It is a 6 eye level upgrade, XT Bracer. So this is whoever you trust is doing decent damage, or if you have a great pumper who never got Grasp of Reason, they're still using Unsullied for some reason, you give these to them. It's not a huge deal.
Seems like an item that might end up going to healers.
Why?
Because everyone else wants the base. Oh.
This is BIS for 3 casters.
Well, then never mind. I wasn't listening to what you were saying.
Classic.
I
It's
misunderstood.
another day in paradise.
Fuck off. Lock equals priest equals arcane. Okay.
It's absolute BIS for Arcane, so I just threw them on there.
Sure. Martial difference between Grasp and XT. Keep Dover doesn't have. Oh, that's what I was saying. If you don't have Grasp of Reason and casters do, is there an argument to give it to a healer who doesn't have?
Oh yeah, that's definitely within the realm of possibility.
Okay,
I
so
would.
that's
I'd
what I was.
be open to that.
That's what. Yeah. Okay.
Because like the healers are
I
probably
wasn't
using
totally off
like
base.
the
We're using
232
we're
crit
using
ones.
Shit like from Razor
Yeah.
scale normal. It's usually.
I'd be open to that
Okay.
conversation. Maybe.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Depends on the guild. All right. Gloves of the Lifeless Touch.
So these are basically a 258 Pharaohs, but they have less secondary stats, so less crit and haste, but more spell power and raw stats of like stamina and intellect.
Okay.
So most of the casters, or all the casters, are using T9 as Abyss, like the 258. But if you don't think you're going to get full tier, like we talked about earlier, these could be within the realm of possibility of being something that you could build with. I would look into that in your individual class. I know that Holy Paladins use Pharaohs in their full Abyss, and since this isn't a very attractive item for a lot of the casters because they're going to want tier for their 4-piece, this might be something that you could go for instead of Pharaohs if your guild stops farming Algalon for some reason.
Gotcha. You think a lot of guilds? It sounded like Blizzard was going to do the skip to from Vez to Vezax. Do you think a lot of guilds are gonna do Algalon, Vezax, Yogg? And
I can
like-
see that. I mean, people are gonna want Mimron because conductive seal.
sure.
People
Yeah.
aren't really gonna want Freya. People are gonna not really want Thorm because you could farm scale and 10-man.
It's weird.
And
I
Hodir
get-
doesn't matter.
Well, it depends.
frags.
I mean, if you have a Frost DK that needs the neck, you hit up Hodir. If you have a DK that needs the bow, you hit up IC.
Yeah,
Freya.
yeah.
Is there anything on Freya?
No.
I think you can skip Freya.
Well, it's just Val'kyr fragments. If you
Yeah, the
And
Val'kyr
Thorum,
fragments.
What about Scale? Right? Is Scale Bis for any casters?
If you're still farming Val'kyr, you're
Scale
gonna
is
need to kill
bis
it all anyway.
for Resto Shaman.
It's also
Alright.
Bis for Warlocks next tier, but I think most of the Warlocks kind of have.
I don't care about that.
Scale is Bis in ICC for Warlocks?
No, for
Oh.
TOGC.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Val'kyr fragments throw a wrench in that. It'd be nice if Blizzard threw us a bone and be like, you have a chance to roll 1 to 15 Val'kyr fragments, then depending on the boss is left alive off Yogg, right?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Who knows? I think they're gonna want us farming it because TOGC is too quick.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'd like to do like 4 TOGCs a night, really get it in.
Whoa, that's a lot of TOGCs.
In
These
one
are
night?
Characters.
I mean, 20
We
minute
could do
raid,
4 in one night. I'd be down.
shorter than
But
the
then, like, what
raid.
am I gonna play?
Diablo 4.
Yeah.
I'm a Diablo 4 streamer. Okay.
Do some more old wars. You love old
Sure,
war.
I do love Old War. All right. Where were we? Leggings of the Deepening Void.
These are similar to the last piece where most people are using tier, and the only people not using legs, like tier 9 legs, are Ellie Shamans, Druids, and Demolocks. These are hit crit, so it's kind of weird. It's another one of those pieces where you're going to have to look and see, are you going to be getting the tier? Do you not want the tier? And you're going to have to figure out if it's actually worthwhile. This might be just a filler piece until you get what you actually want.
I think a
Definitely
lot of
don't
people
DE
will
it.
end up using this though, right? Because it's gonna drop. You're not gonna be up for tier for a few weeks at least, and you might just.
Well, if
get
you have
it.
like enslaved idle legs, this is like a 6 eye level upgrade over those, so that's like a 1-for-1 trade. Like a lot of
Sure.
people don't get their hit from their legs. Like warlocks are using tier, for example. Mages are using tier, for example. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to break their tier bonuses. So it just depends on what you got and where you're going. Might be a nice little builder piece.
Footpads of the Icy Flow with an E.
So we talked about the Morning Widow boots earlier. The boots of Icy Flow are hit haste double socket. So basically, Flame Leviathan boot with hit and Sizz Spirit. And no class in the sets that I saw are using this in their absolute boosts. But there are a lot of ways you can use this hit and move around other pieces that have hit to go for less contested pieces. So if you think this is your best piece for your absolute abyss, I would definitely communicate that with your council, because as of right now, in all of the sets, basically everyone's using Morning Widow. So it's up to
it might
you
be a
to
good
figure out
idea to
if
like
this is your best.
take this and then use your
And then
prio
do-
on other stuff.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Be that guy, and then you're
The
not
team
fighting.
player.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Maybe you do a higher rain prio or whatever. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're Affliction, for example, you could use like the sword instead of barb, and use the hit from the star shard you can get from the boots instead. That's one example.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like I would be going for this and then want prio elsewhere, personally.
Definitely a healer piece.
Okay. Bracers of Dark Determination. These are those bracers we were talking about earlier. Rogue equal feral equal ret.
So yeah, I recently changed that. You can just see I'm making the update right now. So these are interesting, right? Because Ret and Feral have harder hit caps than Rogues do. So this being a hit item, Rets may be looking for them kind of early to get the pieces they need for a hit. They're a big piece. I mean, this I think is one of the bigger pieces in here. Pretty contested. I don't know. If you have a pumper, Ret seem to like do well in TOGC, so I wouldn't be like, oh, Ret, LOL. But there's a good chance that Ret surprise us in TOGC.
All right, I'm changing the color on this then to light pink.
LOL, Ret, yeah. I don't know, man. I did a lot of simming this phase, and it was like, holy shit, Rets are looking like somebody's now.
Don't inflate their heads at all.
So, Rogue, the original Feral Beast that came out was Solar Bindings, and that has changed. They went through some iterations. I think we have a set linked in this sheet that is better than the Solar Binding set, but marginally better, right? It's not crazy. So I don't know. There is an option there that is like, well, you got two rogues, a red and a feral, all looking for the same bracers. Maybe the feral hits the Solar Binding set.
We have alliance with Solar Bindings, Horde with Armbands of Dark Determination.
Gotcha. Okay, that's what it is. Like I said earlier about ferals, is like I wanted to phone a friend, and Pummel's that friend, so he helped me with ferals because I was kind of lost on what they
I like
need.
ferals a lot right now. Having fun.
Cool. Okay. Leg wraps of the Awakening. Crit haste
So
spell
we should
power.
make a note on that. Feral Horde feral equals
Okay,
red,
sure.
right?
Let me.
Yeah,
Are
definitely
you
do
doing
that.
it?
Leg wraps of the Awakened are absolute best for our feathered friends, our boomkins,
Ooh.
and our shamans, both Resto
Ooh.
and Ellie. I would recommend going a boomkin first, because if there is a world where they get their 4-piece, this is the biggest off-piece and that they crank, and I love boomkins, don't kill me. And they just deserve a really good piece. Thank you, boomkins.
That's
Boomies crank.
so nice when like, and I feel like they do this later in the game. Is like the leather piece is like for boomkins the best piece, right? It's not like, oh, my off piece is this thing that all the casters wants. It's just like nobody would care if you statted the leather piece just like super well.
Yeah.
It's been like, oh, you don't need a bunch of them.
Stat it better than the cloth piece.
Not by much, but
makes
like
sense
a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't want to see like a 13 boomkin raid. You don't want to go
Totally.
too crazy, but like
Yeah, I want to see a 14 boomkin raid. You hear that, boomkins? I'm here for you.
I know Crix did a 15 Shadow Priest raid or something on the PTR. It was like ridiculous.
That was cool to watch, actually. All the vampiric embraces, I bet they had a tough time on a noob.
Their twin Valks must have been fun. This is just all that passive healing. Okay. Where were we? Chest guard of flowing elements. Crit MP5 spell power.
So, Elemental Shaman uses T9. Resto Shaman uses T8. So, this is kind of just a weird piece, like a weird MP5 chest with 3 sockets. So, if you do have someone that is trying to build in an interesting way, maybe your Holy Paladin, just toss it to. It's not a big deal. I feel like there are very few people that want this, and you won't have a hard time handing it out.
Yeah. This will be one of the ones that you're bummed when you see it drop after the first.
Well, not for the person who's getting it.
Sure.
They're probably gonna kind of really.
But it's like the
excited.
vestments of the blind denizen, or any of those items. You're just like, okay, we got one, we got two, we're done.
I'm just really excited for my friend Skikir. So.
Sure, yeah. Good for you. You're so kind-hearted. Okay. All right. Belt of Deathly Dominion. This is the belt that we were talking about earlier that the troll or the horde warriors want, right?
Yes. So I have hunter equals horde warrior. That's like up to you to decide. If it's no troll warrior, I think specifically troll, right? Like you just call that out as specific, or is it all horde? It's all horde warrior.
I think it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
all
Because of
horde.
the hit.
Yeah. Hunter equals horde warrior, and then enhancement shot. It's not Bish Shami, I don't think. Is it?
It is not. They use
Not
Belt of
this.
the Merciless Killer.
Okay. But it is not a bad shaman piece. I think I had it in a set, so I made a note. Maybe your shaman's looking for, something.
A lot of contested hunter gear for sure. Shut up, Ladon. Okay. All right. So if you are Alliance, this will be easier to get. If you're Horde, it'll be a bit harder to get. But vice versa with Bloodbath Girdle.
I mean, one warrior, max 2, 1 hunter max 2, you'd be fine.
Look at Helio using Pum's emotes. I love it. Okay.
Thank you, Helio.
Leggings. No, wait. I went too fast. Oh, no, I didn't. Leg guards of the lurking threat. Oh, I wonder who this goes to.
It's a Hunter Biss.
Free hunter gear. Congratulations.
Free hunter loot after they're complaining about Bell to Deathly Dominion. I mean, you could kill this boss and give all the loot to the hunter.
Pretty
Our
much.
Conclave, these these belts or
Yeah, Strength of the Narub.
Reign of the
Huge hunter
Unliving.
cloak.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Gratz Hunters on your free pants. That's a big item. Lots of armor pen. I wonder about the marksman thing. We'll see what happens, but it'll be fun. Gloves of Bitter Reprisal. Crit armor pen. These are a big item, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're a fun item. I don't know if they're big because, like, like I said, I gave my speech about the Frost DKs. I don't think Frost DK should get this first. Warriors definitely get this first. If I was playing Frost, I would just take these as like, oh, a pure single target fight. Maybe I can throw these on, but with the amount of cleave and if you're doing any desync rotation stuff as Frost, you want to be hit capped. I feel like you want to be spell hit capped. If you go to Pestilence and it bounces off an add on Jaraxxus, you're just gonna hate yourself. So why not just use the tier gloves with hit and the tier chest with hit?
Sure.
Or not the tier chest, but the what's that called? It has a pretty cool name. The hit chest. as your off
What
piece.
was it called? Frostborn Hero.
Yeah. It says Frostborn in it. You might as well wear it as a Frost DK.
There you go. Okay, armor pen, lots of armor pen. That'll be good.
Did I mention Warrior first? I don't know. I might have.
You mentioned that.
Yes.
It was a comment you made.
Okay. Belt of the Forgotten Martyr. Pally belt.
Paladin.
Congratulations. Again, you guys might be using. You guys probably won't use this because it doesn't have haste on it, but it'll go to you. Greaves of the 7th Legion. Crit expertise. Big boots.
So I forget why I made this note, and I feel like now I want to revise this whole note. And the whole Prio on this. Originally I had Frost Ret Warrior. It's a situation that Warriors and Rets will gain more from the expertise than a Frost DK would. So I would look to give whoever needs the expertise or whoever's like trying to get rid of solar bindings. Say you get Dark Determinant, or say you get the male bracers on the Warrior. Yeah, you probably don't need these.
Okay.
Or no, if you get, reverse that. If you get the male bracers on your Warrior, you probably do need these, and you'd want to get these out to your Warrior pretty quick. I'll take a look at that note and kind of try to remember what I was thinking when I wrote it, but
Okay.
I don't agree with what I said now, or maybe Pummel's just trying to set me up.
He's known to do that. All right, we'll look at these and adjust them. I think we changed this last minute also. Josh sent us a note. We were thinking about it. Okay. All right. Band of Deplorable Violence. Crit spell power. Spirit socket.
So
Oh boy.
this is a spirit crit ring, right? And most of us are using Nebula Band and Conductive Seal, hopefully. Nebula Band for Warlocks and Shadow Priest is arguably better, and I've seen people use it over Band of Deplorable Violence / Lurid, whatever, in their BIS list. So I would go with Boomkin and Mages for this ring, and then Locks and S Priest. I don't think it matters that much. There's a lot bigger rings in ICC, and this ring will get them further mileage than it would Locks and Shadow Priest.
That's a good point. Okay. It's BIS for most everybody, but yes, it's not a
BIS
huge
for
item, I guess.
Almost all of them. Like Shadow Priest literally has Nebula Band better. Elemental
Sure.
Shaman uses Nebula Band. Balanced Druid uses Nebula Band. And Band of Deplorable Violence instead of Conductive Seal.
Okay.
So
All right, hello
Yeah.
everybody. Welcome to the Loot Prio Sheet discussion. We're talking about Reign of the Unliving.
All right. This
Here we go.
I just want to state off that this should go to your best DPS. But in my opinion, Enhance and Mage should have equal prio on this. Enhance originally on the sim was not having the most accurate representation. It was simming wrong, but somebody got it on the actual client and was simming it and posting logs on the Enhance Discord. There was a lot of people discussing about it, DMing me about it. I'm not going to name any names, but there's a lot of favor for both sides. But I truly think, after everything that I've seen, I've heard, and I've talked about, that Enhance, if you have an extreme pumper Enhance, they will do a lot of damage with this. The spell power helps them in all the Clee fights in TOGC. Flame Tongue procs the trinket. The spell power is just, this is a very good enhanced trinket.
Didn't we
and
give
it
a
was amazing
Luzka
in
our
private
first comments
servers.
trail also? What is with this guy?
I don't know. I don't know why you would say his name. I didn't even talk to him. But enhances and fire mages should be leaning. I would lean towards enhance, but it depends because there's like a lot of enhances, and not all the enhances are cranking and blasting. So assess your pumpers and adjust. I think for sure, because this doesn't proc off of like dots, that Shadow Priest should be on the back end of this, but Boomkins come close to Fire Mages in this, just based on Sims, and same with Ellie. Like Ellie and Boomkin are kind of like neck and neck, so Enhance equal Mage, Boomkin equal Ellie, S-Priest, then I don't know, Demo or something, but I play Demo as a support role. That's why Demo's not there. If you're a pumper Demo, this is going to be your abyss. You'll have to figure out how you could slide into this prio somehow. I would probably put you on the same level as the Boomy and the Ellie. I really don't think S-Priest should be that high on this trinket because it just doesn't proc off of dot ticks, which is a huge pain in the ass. Warlocks aren't even going to look twice at this trinket. If you have flare and scale, don't be very upset if you don't get this trinket this phase. As a warlock or an S-Priest, I think it'll be fine.
Did you look into the longevity of this item at all? Like,
It all gets replaced in ICC. It doesn't matter.
even enhancers.
I actually don't know if Enhance replaces it or not, but I mean, all the casters are going to replace it with Phylactery and that other trinket that I can't think of right now that drops off of one of the first bosses. So, long run, it all gets replaced anyway.
Whispering Fang's Skull. All right, thank you, man.
All right.
It's a 10-man trinket too, so that's...
Yeah, that's easier to get.
So it all gets replaced.
Okay. Well, there's Rain. Thank you, Pummel, for all that work. I know that was a lot of stress for you to prio that out and take a stance on it. So
remember, if you ever are in doubt, just read the note. Please read the note and don't send me mad DMs. Also, I love Affliction Warlocks. Thank you.
there you go. That was good. Good speech, Pump. Thanks. I had never mind. All right. Stormpike Cleaver. Hit haste AP.
Same thing as like Linehead Slasher. I feel it's just let's unlock the rogues. You know, the hack and slash build. Not. I don't think there's any swords this tier. So combat rogues first, and then Unholy equals Frost. Depending on faction, maybe you favor Frost a little bit more. But I think we just simmed this, and it was like Unholy actually gained a little bit more than Frost over the Cudgels. It's really the Unholy Death Knight weapon and the Frost Death Knight weapon talk is really going to be. There's a lot of nuance to it, what race you're playing, what faction you're playing. So, I don't know. I feel like you should probably only have one combat rogue. We'll see. Maybe you have two. Hit the rogue first. Move on.
Cool. And it just pairs with the other axe, right?
Oh yeah, this is the enhance offhand. I keep forgetting that's the thing. That enhancement shamans won this guy.
Did we account for that?
It's not on the sheet. I didn't actually sim to see where it is.
Okay.
But we should take a look and see, you know, kind of like where you would put them. I don't know if it's a huge upgrade or a small upgrade. I know Death Knights are replacing. Well, everyone's there. I guess everyone's replacing Caress, right? So.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's look at the enhance after this. All right, almost done. Misery's End. What a dumb looking mace.
That's really insulting to the shamans, priests, and druids that are going to be using this, but okay. So it's absolute this for boomkins, but Shadow Priest could use it as well. If the Shadow Priest isn't building around Barb, which is their absolute best, they should be considered for this. Almost equal priority. Actually, equal priority. There's not really any reason to pick one or the other. This is also enhanced bis, but it's hard to go enhance with caster weapons when casters don't have their own caster weapons, I guess. And I know enhances with Val'kyr, so I don't think shamans are going to be dropping their Misery's End for Val'kyr. I don't know that. Or dropping their Val'kyr for Misery's End, whatever. But I would still go Boomkin here first.
Cool. Okay.
A lot of enhanced bis sprinkled into the caster loot here.
Hi,
Thank you,
Rudy.
enhances.
Is that a Huggies commercial in your Wowhead?
Was it? Yeah. It knows I'm 33 and probably having a baby soon.
My God, it's listening.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm not. I'm not. You're the only one with kids.
Just clip. I'm 33 and having a baby soon.
All right. We're not pregnant for what it's worth. So fuck off. Okay. We have this baby over here. This fucking Frenchie. Okay. Archon Glaive. Looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. Feral Hunter for this one is the Alliance bis, where Twins Pact is Hordes bis. So hit your Alliance Ferals with it first, and then go giving it to your hunters who want it.
There you go. Easy.
Easy peasy.
Where is
That's
it? It's
blue.
Lupine Longstaff. There you go. Okay.
Wait, there's a chest.
No, I know. Okay.
I didn't know this. I didn't know the boss spawned a chest.
So that was a Anub'arak. And then depending on your wipe count, anywhere between 1 and 50, you get a additional loot. If you clear the instance at all within 50 attempts, you get 2 pieces of 258 tier. Did you just glaze over Hellscream Slicer without talking about prop pallies? We did. We did not talk about prop pallies on Hellscream Slicer.
I think the weapons this tier are so contested that I think prop pallies are good. Unless we're starting to push threat, I don't know. Giving a tank a weapon that a DPS would use, I don't see the reasoning. I think there's a lot. You know, if you're looking at a raid with like 3 unholies, a rogue, the enhancement shaman, you got like 5 people to give 2 weapons to. Sim prop pally versus DK on Hellscream Slicer. I'd be interested. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's a decent point.
Prop pallies aren't parsing though.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, if
if they do more damage with it, yeah.
if you're doing more damage, then it's like that's going to the raid. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know that. I mean, let's see. I'd like to see that. I didn't do that sim.
We'll look into it and see what happens.
I mean, if you know the answer, that'd be interesting to know. Are you saying prop paladins do more DPS with that weapon than an Unholy Death Knight? Because that'd be cool. I get behind that.
That would be interesting. All right, well, we'll come back to it. All right, so we'll talk about tier at the very end. Let's get to some of these other items. Silver Wing Defender. Wow, that looks just so stupid.
This is your tank item.
It looks
right?
cool. Yeah, tank sword. No one cares.
Tank sword. There we go.
Congrats,
Move on.
tanks. Big sword.
Tank sword, no one cares.
Proud of you guys. You did it.
Do they use this across the board?
Not exactly.
No, it's just Prot Warrior.
Yeah. Prop paladins use the mace.
Remorseless, which we're about to get to. So
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, Prot Warrior Grets. Remorseless. Crit Haste AP. Agi Stam. So there you go.
So
If Prot Pallies want this, and
no, I mean this is still it's like DKs are all over this thing, right? You're giving Prio to the rogues on at the axes, so you know as a DK, as a Death Knight, you're probably going to either you're going to look at what drops, and unless you're like a race that gains a significant benefit off of having one of those weapons, you'll probably just end up taking the 2 best weapons you can. Right there, if you're running a raid with 3 Death Knights in it, that's 6 one-handers you need to get, right?
That
and then you got
sucks.
the rogues tied in, the shamans tied in. It does suck. So it's like hard to justify giving it a tank. I think the sim, like Unholy main hand, simmed better than Frost coming from the axe, but it's really gonna come down to like who has what and what race they are.
okay.
I don't know if the paladins were doing more damage and you weren't a parse guild that cared about like your specific characters parsing, then yeah, maybe give it to a prop paladin. But that's still, it's like a feels bad. Like your tanks are gonna do fine with whatever weapon they get, right? I don't see threat being an issue.
The one thing that threat could be an issue is if you're single tanking Valks. It'd be interesting to see if you could pull that off.
And then you'd want a slow one-hander, right? You want to, for a prop paladin. So yeah, maybe. I don't know, but they're tauntable, right?
I think so, but yeah, still.
You just taunt.
Okay. Val'kyr is asking, why is Prop Pally using this mace instead of Slicer and the expertise bracers in BIS? It's a lot more strength.
Why are they using this specific mace versus the Slicer? I'm not exactly sure.
Well, I could look into that.
Yeah. Pummel did the tank stuff, and I'm sure Pummel put a lot of time into making sure the tanks were optimized for TPS and DPS.
I did the tank stuff, and I was just struggling to find Bissless. Tank stuff is a little bit more
10-man hit bracers. All right, we'll do a little bit of tightening on it, Val'kyr, but thank you for the comment. All right. He says that the 10-man hit bracers instead of the expertise 25. Okay. Where were we?
Will be adjusted.
Blade of the Unbroken Covenant with the little handguard. That's kind of cool.
So caster sword. Because of last year, I said to give all the star shards to warlocks. I don't know if they did. I don't know how many star shards you saw, but I assume a lot of the mages are using the Endless Winter. I don't know if you have an offhand, but it doesn't really matter. It's easier to replace the Staff of Endless Winter with the sword, where you don't need to worry about the hit, than replacing a star shard with the sword and looking for that new bastion to hit. So I would say it really depends on who in your guild between the mages and the warlocks does more damage, but in terms of logistics, it is easier to give them the sword. If you want to use Footpads of Icy Flow and build with the sword as a warlock and get rid of the dagger, that's something you do too.
That's a cool idea.
But it's very, very easy to give it to either of them. People would be very happy.
So this sword is less BIS. I don't want to say not BIS, but less BIS than the dagger. But it's
correct. It's extremely marginal.
Yeah, it's super
like
close.
15-20 DPS at best.
Okay.
That 15-20 DPS is assuming your button inputs are absolutely perfect. So
yeah. I threw Decimation on the Absolute BIS list for Blood DK, but Catastrophe in the Prio list with Decimation on whoever. Okay. Mefford, would you DM me that and I'll look at it? All right. BRK 1000. Congratulations, Hunters, on your bit. Oh, we skipped Catastrophe. Catastrophe.
Hit it. Hit
That's
your Rets. Yeah, hit your Rets, then your Blood Death Knights.
Big bonk.
You're tanking Blood Death Knights.
That might be. I think that's supposed to be Decimation, wherever that is. I don't know where Decimation. Oh, there it is.
Mefford was just saying. Decimation. So it's just ret on this.
It's right underneath.
Yeah. All right. Big bonk, grats Rhett on your easy weapon pickup, and you will see these because you have a 1 in 7 chance for it to drop. All right, BRK 1000, grats hunters. That's your bis. After the hunters, go to the rogues. Easy. Clemency, the staff. How much of a? She doesn't have any hit on it.
It's like the Hodier staff, but
Yeah.
6 eye levels higher.
Yeah.
So it's if somebody wants to make the side grade 6 eye level increase and rock that for the tier, it's up to them. It's not absolute best for anybody. I think healers have an opportunity to get this if they want. Like, it's not a huge deal. It's just a 258 staff with crit.
Decent
which,
for holy priests. Not great for disc.
well, you're not
not
going to be if you have a
bad.
Val'kyr as a healer, you're probably not going to be.
Yeah, you're not going to use this.
So,
It's
is a bad
it's
item.
fine.
It's not a very good
2
item.
sockets, not 3. Blah blah blah. Okay.
Yeah.
Decimation, cool sword. This is the Blood Decay Bis sword that we just talked about. Would you get
That's
this as a warrior ever?
I mean, if it drops and the blood decay doesn't need it, I don't know.
Like an alliance
actually
warrior?
no. I
That,
doubt.
that,
I
that,
doubt
that hit
it's
that hit is
better.
awful if you have like a Vulture
Yeah,
Thor. That's
I
like
doubt it's better
94
than
hit.
Vulture Thor. I highly doubt it's better. I know it's not. I'll just take that stance. Find me a set where that's better than Vulture Thor. JK. Come.
All right, it's over.
Gotcha.
You got me. Sniper Dad, you douche. All right. He waited the entire stream. I'm grateful that he watched the whole time and then he donated money, but there you go. The good comes with the bad, as Twitch is generally. All right. Back
The
to
rest
tier.
of the stuff is the most exciting, right?
We'll talk about tier in a second. We will get a new discussion going briefly on tier, but let's get into the cloaks. So the cloaks are the most sought after items in TOGC outside of maybe Death's Verdict and Rain, because 1, you have to do it wipeless, and 2, for some classes this is just game bis. Game bis items are, surprise surprise, very good. So if you're getting wipeless raids, which most of you should be doing most of weeks after the first couple, you're gonna want to figure out where these are gonna go, because they are kind of reward chase items. They also look cool. Rarely do you turn cloaks on, but these look pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about the easy ones first. Magni's Resolution. The other one's called something stupid. Karen's Endurance. When that drops, you're going to be sad. You only have 2-ish tanks per raid, maybe 3. And if it drops, your tanks are very likely going to get these. So, congrats tanks. All right, next, Variance Furor.
So this is current bis for both Frost and Unholy. I think Frost may use it for the rest of the game. I haven't simmed everything out that far, but it is looking like they could utilize that hit, and there's a something of the blinding sheet next phase that has a bunch of haste on it that Unholy would probably use. So I'm not going to come out and just say Frost will use it for the rest of the game, because every time like you say something like that, someone will find a way to like, oh, Frost doesn't need to use it. But likely go Frost, Unholy, Prio. I think they're the only ones who care. I maybe just hit your Frost or whoever needs the hit. It's a big item, or maybe the guy who doesn't die. Maybe you have an Unholy DK that always dies. So I think on the sheet I say Frost equals Unholy.
Cool. Okay.
Is it Repis? I thought, yeah, it is Rep Bis. I'm sorry, the other one's ARP. So Rep Bis too. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take a big stance on the item. I think it's good for all the classes. It's everybody's Bis. Whoever's a valuable player. It's not hard to go wipeless, but
Not every guild will
don't-
be able to do it.
yeah. So once you get that done, like, give to the guy who's not dying.
Yeah.
At a very high end, you'll probably just see this going to Death Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The difference between these cloaks and like an Algalon item is that these actually drop. They're not a quest item, Cassie asked. So, the tank one will drop and you'll get it. The healer one, unfortunately, is very likely going to be yoinked by the casters, but
As a DPS, it sucks because you're thinking like, oh man, I wish this was a quest item.
it's easier
And
for
all that-
the quest item for DPS. Yeah.
Yeah, all the tanks and healers are like, I'm so glad it's not a quest item because
Yeah.
they know they have a shot.
Well,
at
the
it,
healers won't, but the tanks for sure do.
Well, one might, and we'll get there soon.
All right.
Yeah, Guido. I said that Unholy does want Winding Sheet, but I'm unsure if Frost will use it. It looks like it's probably gonna be their game bis, but I don't want to rubber stamp. I don't want to stamp that in and solidify it.
Okay. Barisa's dexterity. Agi Stam, crit, AP, armor pen.
Warrior, Rogue, Hunter, every other melee that I didn't name, right?
Yeah. This is
Feral.
the harder one to get.
Is it game bis for everybody? I don't know. I think there's a possibility it might be. It's a big, a big fat chunk of armor pen. I forget the other cloaks that are available in ICC, but just looking at everyone who's scaling off armor pen, they're gonna be looking at this thing, right?
I think it's Abyss, all of them, besides
it's
Assassination.
Gunship, and it's called Shadow Vault Slayer's Cloak.
This is the only ARP cloak.
Crit
But
haste
this is
AP.
the only, yeah. But if you're at the point where you're dropping your runestone, and you're just stacking ARP, this is your guy. This is your
Yep.
cloak, right?
Yep.
So that's your ferals. That's your.
So it's the best ARP cloak
combat.
in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fury, fun.
This is the one you want to see the most of, I think, out of any of the cloaks.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. It could be. That could be true. Yeah, there's already arguments about it. Like, I'm not gonna say one way or another. There's a very high likelihood these are game bis, and there's a likelihood that they might not be. So that's 6 weeks from now we'll start figuring that out. But I would say act like they're game bis, because if not, they're very
Yeah.
close to being game bis.
Yeah. Okay. Again, for all these cloaks predominantly, if you're going wipeless, then you all should be trying to go deathless. Give these to the people that don't die. Like, that is the most impactful thing that you can do. It's a reward item. It's like a legendary. It's are you doing the utility jobs? Are you doing the things that, do you have hero moments? Do you whatever you can do to stand out, these people should be rewarded. People that are going to stick around, all that stuff.
If they're dying, they might use the cloak for some more stamina.
Good point. What if they?
Who
what if
knows?
it's a
If
six
If you had give me more gear, I wouldn't be dying all the time.
Exactly.
All right, that's Ladon's logic, sure. All right, let's get into the caster stuff. We can skip Magni's resolution. Hands are done. Congratulations. Actually, no, we have tier, but yeah. Jaina's Radiance. Do you want to do this one first or the other one? Which one's easier to do first?
Let's do Jaina's. I mean, it's bis for all the casters, every single caster, and in-hand shaman. But as of what I know right now, it is not bis game for anyone. There are very good cloaks in ICC. So, just give it to your biggest pumpers. Like, if you're getting this cloak, you're probably not going to be the top prio for the 277 cloak in ICC. But it's just a really good cloak. It's a chase item, one might say. So,
yeah,
give it to your best and brightest. Can I just talk about the other one?
Can you just go, which classes want this over the other one?
Affliction Warlock, both mage specs, S Priest, Boomkin, a lot of the healers, most of the healers.
So most everybody wants this.
Basically everybody besides going like transitioning straight into Bolvar's Devotion. This Jane's Radiance is crit haste, and Bolvar's Devotion is spirit haste, and support demo this for them is Bolvar's Devotion / Lady Liadrin's Conviction. So if you get that spirit haste cloak, I would give it to the demo first, and also the Resto Druid. This is absolute bis for them, so they're within contention if this drops, in my opinion. I would still go demo first, but our druids are in the question. And you won't get a billion Jaina's Radiances or Aethys' Intensity. Who knows how many close you're going to get, right? But Bolvar's Devotion seems kind of close for those who use Spirit in any sort of valuable way, like Mages, Affliction Warlock, Shadow Priest. So, if you're okay, and your demo already has one, and you see a second one drop, and they don't want to go a healer, you should throw your name out there. It's a 272 cloak, and it's going to be better than the secondary option anyway. It's just a big upgrade over the Algalon cloak, like a 20 eye level upgrade, so think about it. Might be worthwhile if you just don't think you're going to get the other one.
What is this? Whatever. Okay, cool. I don't think you get the Resto Druid, for what it's worth. But
Said perhaps it is their absolute bis. Worth a mention.
is it okay? Sure. Demo lock, then it kind of opens up. I would do demo
Sure.
first.
I would also do demo first.
Grass demo on more easy gear for you. Big.
Thank you for giving me spell power. I love you, Demo Warlocks.
Yes. Okay, and then tier gear. Hands did a great thing where he had a sheet where he showed the deltas between. Why don't you go over it, Hands, or just talk
All right.
about it?
So it's not the most it's not the best way to come up with it, but the idea was who gains the most from going from 245 to 258. So the way I went about this is sim everybody in 245, or sim everybody in 258. Get my number, 1,000 iterations, 2-minute fight, or 10,000 iterations, 2-minute fight. Get that number, put it in a spreadsheet, and then go back through sim everybody in 245. But the classes that care about hard spell hit, and expertise cap use gems to replace it, because I didn't want to go through the process of like finding that optimal set that you need 1% hit. Where does that come from? I'm not going to release that data. I don't think that data is important. But what I will say about that data is it was close enough. Like from the Vank tier, the margin was like 120 DPS. The lowest person that gained from going from 245 to 258 was 100 DPS or 120 DPS lower than the highest person. So I don't think the DPS, and this is one piece of gear. This is 4 pieces of gear. So if you divide that up, that's 30, 45 DPS per piece of gear. And you could look at this for each piece and say, well, the helm is actually a bigger upgrade, or the legs are the bigger upgrade. So suffice to say, all of that, I don't think it matters based on a pure DPS standpoint who gets the gear first. I think you want to look to reward the players in the guild that are pumpers, obviously, and then you look at longevity. And there's this whole big argument for Unholy Death Knights that this is their last piece of gear, right? And if you look at, a way to think about this is like, this tier gear is like the Bis Helm from Old War for a mage, the Bis Helm for a Frost DK, all that Bis stuff rolled up into one token. So when these tokens drop in like a GWP, they're not like the typical 5k tier tokens. These are like 100k tier, items, right? These are going to be huge.
Yep.
So they're big pieces. On Vank, if you're asking me who I go first, I don't think I hit every Unholy Death Knight in the raid first, but I hit, because there's a possibility that like you don't take 5-6 Unholy Death Knights into ICC Prague, so maybe you do like 3 Unholy Death Knights and then a Fire Mage feels right, or you have a Pumper Boomy. I don't know. Fire Mage starts to scale off gear very well, so I feel like they're up there on the Vank token. Unholy has the argument of, I use this tier for the rest of the game. So it's like for Vank, that's kind of where I sit.
They do
Um,
swap it with full BIS at the very end of ICC,
but
right?
like that's you're think about
I
Vank.
I,
The
I just
people on
I know. I
the
just
people on
wanted to
Vank
be sure that
don't.
that was true.
Yeah, that could be true. And there
It's
may
like a marginal difference though.
Yeah,
Like the
and
4-piece bonus is just
Okay.
massive
Okay.
for Unholy.
and you think about the cleave of it, right? Like I spread my diseases to everybody, and they can crit. So even if it's single target better, I'm still running this for the rest
Sure.
of the game.
Yeah.
Sad. It would feel bad to not have it as an Holy Death Knight in ICC.
Yeah.
It wouldn't feel bad as as bad for like a mage to not have it in ICC week 3, week 4.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that's your argument for Unholy first. Frost can wait. Frost would likely want to get the ARP stuff. So ideally, if you pump as Unholy, you get it first, and if Frost becomes the spec you swap to in ICC after Unholy like stops their scaling, then you have it. But for TOGC,
Tier should go depending on like what you're thinking, but it's a numbers game. How many weeks this tier is going to be, how many wipes you're getting, stuff like that. And the last thing is consider getting tanks their tier toward the end of the phase. They may need it for ICC, but you could probably wait until the ICC PTR to see how hard they're getting hit before you decide whether or not they need it.
I guess the important thing.
There's only one place the conch tier goes. This is the Warlocks, baby. There's no other option.
Rets do well with it too. I mean, I'm not gonna say, but
Reds
like,
are gonna get ICC tier Prio. Give the Warlocks
Yeah, maybe.
our chance in the sun. We've been hiding the entire each tier so far. We've been ass. This is our time to shine.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
each
we
tier
get
you've
we
been
get big
asked.
tier. We get big tier.
This is how you go like without nerfs every patch. It's like, oh, we're so bad.
Yeah, we're awful.
Um,
Don't nerf us. Also, Prio's tier. Thank you.
I think the important thing that like everyone needs to know is like it's 4 tokens max per week, right? So you do the math. You have 25 people in your raid with perfect RNG, meaning no token overlap ever. Like you're not rotting a token. No one's getting an offset token. That's 25 weeks. Ultra wears out for 22 weeks, right? 23 weeks.
Yeah.
TOGC is not supposed to be out that long, so.
In terms of tier bonuses, like Shadow Priest want 2, Ret wants 2, Lock wants 4, and then healers. So
People are getting Prio on tier, getting Prio on all 4 pieces right away. That's a discussion.
I don't think that should be the case, especially it's like what do they need the tier for? Like if you're like a tier bonus chaser, and you should just be like if you're not farming 10 man and you're like complaining about your tier bonus, like why would you get a regalia?
You also have to think of it as the logistics of it, right? Like you're trying to get as many people a piece of gear as possible. It's like, okay, I have what you're getting 10 tokens plus a week from your 25 man. It's like, all right, who do I give the tier tokens to make sure that they don't go around and replace it with the 258 piece next, so it's like, I don't know, you gotta,
the first couple weeks of,
yeah.
You only have to sort that out for a very brief amount of time.
Yeah, you could get it. I mean, you could ideally, if you're a class like a hunter, you could definitely go get 2 trophies and get 2 pieces of tier week 1, and then you get your 4-piece. You're rocking your 4-piece. You're feeling well, and you don't have to get prioed all 4 pieces.
Just
you
ram
just-
99s week 2 like crazy.
It's
Get
like
that,
it's
get that gun if you're lucky.
It's super dynamic. Like if you get lucky and you get like 3 or 4 regalias of Vank week 1 and like a Death's Verdict drop, like are you really gonna invest all of your loot capital in an Unholy DK? And then you gotta think about what's more valuable in that case. Like do you give
made
them
me
all
smile,
like the
man. I
tier?
was like, could
and-
we please?
And then give the Death's Verdict to a Ret? Like you gotta think about it dynamically. It's not like whatever drops, like black and white, it goes to this person. Like it has to be just a collective.
I feel pretty strongly about black and white. You should really try to get your Death Knights 258 Vank before the end of the phase.
Yeah, then I would give the Death's Verdict to the DK that either didn't get
Yeah.
the Vank or like a Ret or something. in
I
that
don't know,
case,
but like
'cause
you
you stack
gotta-
one person, people just get in their
True.
feels
Yeah,
about
it
it every
depends.
single
I mean,
time.
it depends on the what your goals are as a guild. If you're doing speed runs, no, that's not what you just said.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But if you're doing speed runs, you're probably doing like 12 of these.
Yeah.
And each main gets like 24 ults.
That's,
so-
honestly, that's the best way to look at it. Is like it's a 30-minute raid if you're pushing pace, probably 45 if you're taking your time. If you can do it wipeless, like if you do a wipeless, it's 30 minutes, right?
We've said it a couple times, but I mean, especially with Joyous Journeys out right now, if you are able to get a split or two off the ground right now and prep for TOGC. You can do, 2-3 clears a night in your normal raid time
And then
pretty
you don't have to worry
comfortably,
about
and then your tier situation is solved. You don't have to worry about any of that. So think about how hard you want to push. I know it's the summer and everyone's kind of chilling, but there is a solution.
That ICC prep, right? It's
Yeah.
all about ICC prep.
Yeah, and it's going to be a
SCC,
cold
bro.
winter. Okay, well, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you both so much for helping me with
Yeah.
this. It was definitely a easier sheet. I'm already not looking forward to ICC because it's going to be coming right around the corner, and we're going to start the next one right away. But
There's a lot of loot.
there's
and
a lot of loot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's take a little break and kind of sit back and enjoy TOGC for a bit. But yeah, this is the end of the video. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.